Hi there everybody, welcome to a new episode of the vlog. During World Wars I and II, many ships of course needed to be built for the war effort, and there was a shortage of materials. They only had so much steel, they only had so much wood, so they had to get a little bit creative and cheap with how they were building them. So ships were built out of concrete at times. They didn't make too many of them because while the production costs were rather inexpensive, the operational costs were enormous. You don't really see many of them these days. In fact, only 10 of them, 10 of the World War II ones at least, are known to exist. And they're all right behind me here in the harbor of Powell River. I'm here by the Catalyst paper mill here. It's an enormous mill just beyond these trees. The mill itself is incredible. It's operated, of course, as the Catalyst paper mill now, but it's been a paper mill for this year marks 110 years. It was originally owned and operated by the Powell River Company when they built it in 1912. This was the original, the very first manufacturer of newsprint in Canada. I walked to this building only because it looks the oldest. I have no way of knowing if it's an original 1912 building, but amazing history here that they've been producing paper for well over 100 years and still continue to provide jobs for so many people. It was at one point the largest paper mill on the planet, and in 1973 at its peak employed over 2,500 people. I know back in the year 2000 they scaled down production a little bit here. I'm wondering if anybody knows the specifics of what this enormous sort of drum-looking thing is. It is absolutely huge. Hard to get the scale of it on video, but yeah, it's an absolutely massive complex here, and it's the jobs created by this mill that effectively founded the town. But yeah, in behind it, the lumbering concrete hulks are just amazing. They've used these incredible ships as just a breakwater. They've been here for years and years. They're a bit of a tourist destination now. And yeah, the vast majority of these boats were built, like I said, during the Second World War, but there is one here that is even older. From the front, these ships are the Armand Cedar from 1944, the LJ Vicat from 1944, the Thaddeus Merriman from 1944, the John Smeaton from 1943, and the PM Anderson from 1944. Then behind that, there's more ships that are hard to see from here. There's the Henry Le Chatelier from 1944, the Emily N. Vidal also from 1944, the Quartz also from 1984, and then behind that is the Peralta. And yes, the SS Peralta at the back here is the last of the World War I concrete ships. Now, it actually never saw service during World War I, but it was built from plans that were made up during World War I. Although the ship was not actually completed until 1920. It was added to this breakwater in 1958, so I wonder if that's when most of these ships wound up here after their service after World War II. Yeah, they didn't have long services, like I said. By the time the war was over, they just had no reason to spend all that extra money on the operational costs. Wow, I didn't realize this, but Powell River's floating breakwater of ships has been there since 1930, so for almost a century there's been a breakwater of ships over there. But yeah, there was a shortage, as this says, of plate steel for ships construction. And so they built them out of concrete. They're just too heavy though. So yeah, the cheap construction costs, like I said, were just offset by these enormous operational costs. I just love the little remnants you can still see on here. Like, what is that, a crew quarters there? There's these little, I think those are doors to enter, or those windows. There's a little shack there on the roof, and they all follow a similar plan. There's similar little things like that on the other boats, like there's two identical ones here. Yeah. Seems to be remnants of the old paint job on this one as well. Trying to see if any of the names of the boats still exist on the sides. I don't think so. Truly amazing though. There's also a very important note here about the effect of the construction of this mill on the Tla'amin First Nation. Please excuse me if I've pronounced that wrong. This mentions that Tla'amin First Nation members had lived in their village at Teesquat, or Big River, and fished and hunted around Teesquat since time immemorial, but they were moved off-site and their village was completely dismantled to make way for the mill, and Tla'amin have filed a claim against the government for compensation for their forced relocation, but have always tried to work with the mill and the city, which grew up around it and came to be known as Powell River. The Tla'amin people were forcibly moved a little bit north of here to a reservation which still exists, but it's so important to remember when you're trying to cover sort of colonial history, the terrible effect that these developments had on the Indigenous people and the complete lack of care in which they were treated. Anyway, that's about it. Just a quick little video here today. I've driven through Powell River lots of times, and I always stop here at the floating breakwater because it's just so fascinating to me, an amazing piece of naval history and a surviving remnant of World Wars I and II, really. So yeah, if you're ever in Powell River, be sure to check this place out. Be sure to let me know in the comments of any information I may have missed out on, if you have anything to add to this. Thanks so much for watching. For those of you who don't know, I'm a traveling musician. I'm actually just heading home today from an amazing little mini tour. I've just uploaded a bunch of other videos from my trip up the Sunshine Coast. It's been fantastic. Check out my description for links to where you can find my music, where it's sold or streamed online. You can like this video if you liked what you saw, subscribe to my channel if you've been enjoying my video, and ring the notification bell too if you want to be notified whenever I upload a new video, which will be real soon. Thank you so much for watching.